Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Travis, back with another episode of the Rep by Rep Strength Podcast. So, first and foremost, if you have not yet, be sure to go and sign up for my weekly newsletter. It actually comes out 3 times per week, but it has helpful information related to training, nutrition, recovery, things of that nature. So, check that out at travisbarrett.com/email. Secondly, I've started a Discord channel that's free to join. There's no special catch or anything like that. There's some channels that are locked for individual coaching and things of that nature, but other than that, it's a free online community that I've created called the Strength Circle. So you can find that if you go to Discord and just search the Strength Circle, and it's got a black background and an orange circle. That's the emblem, but you can also find that on my website at travisbarrett.com. There's a link in there with a link directly to the Strength Circle where you can join. So please feel free to join, hop in there, invite your friends, family, anybody else who you think could benefit from learning more about their own health and performance. So, with that, let me go ahead and get to things I wanted to talk about today. So, I just got back from this trip to Philadelphia where I was taking this course. It was a short 2-day, very intense seminar, followed by, it was a hands-on seminar, followed by hands-on practical to finish up. So anyway, a ton of information presented over the course of 2 days, and then on the third day you get tested over certain parts of it that you learned. So anyway, there were 4 instructors, and 3 of the instructors were great, and the 4th instructor, was not the most personable person to work with. And this got me thinking. I can remember I've picked up a ton along the way, with my time as a coach. And I've been very fortunate to have learned from some incredible coaches. I first got my start with Coach Robe at Ball State, then Coach Wendell with the Pacers, Coach Kevin Schultz, who's now at University of Wisconsin as a director there. I had some really, really good mentors. Those are the good ones. I didn't include, and I won't name them, the ones that were terrible. That's kind of part of it. You don't really know who's good and who's not until you spend a little bit of time with them. So the science aspect, especially in this field, you can expect that most people are going to have, a baseline level knowledge. They're going to have a baseline knowledge from the science standpoint, but you'll also hear about the art of coaching. And that's where I got really fortunate with the guys who taught me a ton, and even the ones who were bad, they taught me some things that I never want to be like, some things I never want to do, culture I never want to have. So, I can't remember which one. It's probably all 3 of them, but I think it was Coach Robe was initially, telling me about, make sure you're in weight rooms, talking with coaches, talking with everybody who does anything related to performance, because they're going to have a slightly different view, and ask a lot of questions. Try to learn from as many people as possible. And one of the nuggets he passed along was, you may not always remember exactly what somebody says to you, but you will remember the way they made you feel, right? So that played a huge role in the art of coaching for me. When it comes to working with athletes or tactical population or Gen Pop or whoever, you got to consider that those people that I'm working with, their role is to not necessarily be an expert on training. They oftentimes see the weight room as a part of the process or a means to an end goal, So oftentimes happens very frequently. You're going to see people come in and you're going to talk with them, and it's very clear that they don't know much about training. They know how to work hard. They know how to set a goal and work towards it. That's great, because that's a whole thing in and of itself, having that work ethic. But what I definitely make sure to not do is I don't talk down to people and I don't make them feel like idiots. And I meet them where they're at, and I heard it explained this way. Your goal as a coach should be able to write the information down on a napkin and hand it to a fifth grader, and that fifth grader can understand it and then apply it. So I've often found that some of the smartest people can break things down into the most simple, easy to digest terms. They don't overcomplicate things. So I provide all this context and background because, unfortunately, my time in Philadelphia ended on a kind of a sour note. That one instructor was, just left a very poor taste in my mouth. Made a lot of very snide remarks and comments to me. And she's not up to speed on the art of working with people, clearly, because I wasn't the only one she was like that with, which is unfortunate, because I'm sure she possesses a wealth of knowledge and could learn a lot from her. But, that just unfortunately kind of ruined the experience. So I think that's important. So when you're out there trying to find, hopefully, number one, I hope that you're exercising, number one. Number two, I hope that you're doing what you need to do from an exercise standpoint in order to reach your goals. Number three, I hope you're working with someone that you enjoy working with, that is meeting you where you're at and is helping you understand the overall process of what you're trying to do. So, and I say that because my goal with athletes or tactical or Gen Pop or whatever is to work with people and to teach them what's going on so that they don't always need me. So as an example, the tactical guys may get sent out and I might not see them for 3, 4, or 5 months, and they may not have appropriate equipment for training, but if they understand the principles, if they understand the methods, they can kind of improvise. And the same thing with, General Pop. If people move, if I'm working with them in person and they move, again, if they now have the knowledge base to step away from working with someone in person because they've been educated and they know how the process should work. And then if they need anything, then they reach out to me and we can troubleshoot or whatever. But that is a big part of coaching, is making sure that you're working with somebody that you get along with, that's knowledgeable and that's meeting you where you're at, not making you feel like an idiot, because that's going to sour the whole experience for you. So anyway, just start off with that. Secondly, this part about the actual training process is, in my day-to-day working with tactical guys, most of them are incredibly, incredibly driven individuals and have an insane work ethic. And, if I'm giving them, a training session that is, 0 to 5, 5's the hardest they can possibly push, left to their own devices, these guys will inevitably push a 5 every single training session. And that's a double-edged sword, because that's what we want, but that's not always what's appropriate. So that's where I kind of step in with these guys and kind of pull them back a little bit and manage their fatigue in that regard, because it's not what we have to worry about today, but what is today's training going to do for tomorrow, the following day, and the following day. And you can even get into, weeks from now, months from now, because some of that stuff that you do today may not fully be realized for a little bit later on down the road. So it's important to understand that. And along with that, in order to have an effective training session, you do not need to always redline or max out the training session. You can get a ton of benefit from, going back to what Lee Haney says, stimulate, don't annihilate. As an example of this, when I was in Philadelphia in the evening times, I would just go out for walks and just pop in podcasts and just go out for a walk for quite a while. So one day, I think it was Saturday, I got up to 25,000 steps. And every other day, I was averaging right around 10,000 steps. So this got me thinking. This is exactly what I see happen with the, weekend warrior, so to speak. The weekend warrior will generally be, have little to no activity Monday through Friday. Saturday, maybe they go out and lift, they do a triathlon, they play pickup basketball all day or whatever. They do something very, very high volume. And then Sunday they're wrecked. They're sore as shit until Tuesday. Wednesday, maybe they're thinking, okay, I'm starting to get a little bit loose. Thursday, Friday, they start to talk to some friends and they play another pickup game or whatever. And this cycle goes on and on and on. Now, this is a question. What's better? Is it better to have one high volume day and then be obliterated for 3 days and have, again, no movement and have a negative view of training? Or is it better to do little to moderate activity every single day? I would advocate that it's better to do a little bit to moderate every single day. So again, using that 0 to 5 scale, I would rather have people work out at a 2 to a 3 out of 5 intensity 5 days a week or 3 days a week or whatever our frequency's at, rather than have one day maxed out at a 5. So just something to think about when you are arranging your training sessions. Along with that, when you get into different types of recovery modalities, you need to look at, okay, what recovery modality is going to leave me the most sore, and for how long does it leave me sore? Does it set me up for a good training session tomorrow, or does it in fact make me more sore and now I can't train as hard tomorrow? Great example is scraping. So anytime you do any type of scraping or instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization, you have to look at that, because that scraping can be fairly intense, and if you're left bruised and beat up and you don't want to go through a full range of motion, you're probably not going to have a good training session tomorrow. Or at the very least, if you are doing something like scraping, maybe you're going to train upper body tomorrow and then you scrape your lower body today. Just taking into account, it all comes down to planning. And you're not going to know the answers to this until you start playing around with it and seeing what you respond best to. So tinker around a little bit, make some adjustments, make some tweaks, see what helps you, see what, oh shit, I did too much here, that feels unpleasant. that left me sore for a week. All that stuff. It's just part of the process. But then over time, the more you kind of tinker around, then you'll become increasingly accurate in knowing what you respond the best to. So anyway, just a couple things I wanted to touch on there. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. The easiest way to get a hold of me is going to be in the Discord channel at the Strength Circle. So hop in there, introduce yourself, ask questions, meet other people, and I'll keep a pretty close eye on everything. So if we have people that are, just being assholes or just being inappropriate, I'll just kick them out. So we'll keep the community standard where it needs to be. So please hop in there, ask questions, and I'll talk to you next time.